Here we see Nicky, currently in the midst of his series-long MLP binge, and it looks like he's just got done watching something particularly
You're not being very subtle. Like, I can hear every word you're saying.
Come on, I'm just making an intro for your review. Help a pony out.
Alright, fine. Well, I just finished Dragon Quest, and man, that sure sucked as much as it did when I reviewed it, which you can watch by clicking right here. Just gonna leave that there for a second. Alright, that should be good. Alright, what's next on the docket? Ooh, Hurricane Fluttershy. That's definitely one of the good ones. This should be good. Thanks, buddy.
So, guess who has a new favorite episode?
Was that a little strong? I feel like I'm kind of giving away stuff too early.
I mean, I still really like Sonic Rain Boom, and Hurricane was close to the top spot before the binge, so it's not like I fell in love with an episode all of a sudden, but rewatching this episode just made me fall in love with it all over again.
Now, one of my criteria for best episode contendership is that the episode has to do something better than any other episode in the series.
Take my new second favorite episode in the series, Sonic Rain Boom. It has perhaps the best background music in the series. That may be a weird thing to pick up on, but the tune that plays when Rainbow's chasing down Rarity in the bolts and she's just about to hit the Rain Boom still gives me chills. Plus, I just love the cold open so much. It just fits those two so perfectly together, and it was very nicely parodied in the Breezy's episode. Then there's my favorite episode of the later seasons, Amending Fences, aka the most continuity-focused episode in the series. So many loose threads tied up, and nearly everything in the episode made total sense. Plus, it had the most cathartic moment in the series. There was a split second there where I legit thought that Moondancer was gonna beat the shit out of Twilight with that piñata bat.
So what does Hurricane Fluttershy do better than any other episode? Simple. This is Rainbow Dash's best episode.
You see, Rainbow Dash and I have a complicated relationship. Out of all of the main six, she's my least favorite member.
Interestingly, my second least favorite member is Fluttershy. And Twilight is third. And they're the only three members of the main six in this episode. What?
Anyway, when she's bad, her episodes reflect that.
Contrast that with Rarity, whose best episodes come when she herself is kind of a dick. See Sisterhood Social and Rarity Takes Manhattan. And conversely, a good episode by Applejack can often be seen as the shining star in an otherwise crappy episode, like Spike at Your Service, Simple Ways, or Appaloosa's Most Wanted.
But when Rainbow's bad, she's Mare-Do-Well bad, she's May the Best Pet Win bad, she's Buckball Season bad, Parental Guidance bad. But when she's good, she's Wonderbolt Academy good, she's Flight to the Finish good, Stranger Than Fanfiction good, and she's Hurricane Fluttershy good. Every good trait Rainbow Dash possesses is cranked up to 11 for this episode. Her physical prowess, her loyalty, her leadership, her willingness to jump headfirst into conflict, her never say die attitude, hell, even her ego. She's taking a bunch of untrained ponies and looking to not only break the wing power record, but obliterate it.
So, if the requirement is 800, and the record is 910, then the ponies who do this probably don't get much more than the requirement, and Dash is looking for 1,000. That's asking a lot, but she's all in on the idea.
Until ponies start dropping like flies with the feather flu, and how does she react?
Forget the record! Cloudsdale still needs water! Okay, every pony, let's give it all we've got!
She knows her back's against the wall, but she's gonna get that water to Cloudsdale, and she's not even worried about the record anymore. And even after they fail, Rainbow still rallies the troops to give it one more try! She's a leader among ponies, and I think the Wonderbolts will be a better organization once she eventually takes over the group, which I'm sure she will do before the end of the series. Plus, her interactions with Fluttershy are just the best thing ever. Now, obviously, Rainbow and Flutters are the longest standing friends amongst the main six, but here, they feel like family.
Makes sense, given that Rainbow hangs out with Flutters' family and Flutterbrother.
But every time she talks to Fluttershy, she talks with calmness and respect. She gets stern occasionally, but that comes from the fact that they have an important job to do, and she always lowers her voice before it gets mean. She's riding a delicate balance between her duty to get the water to Cloudsdale and helping her friend, and she does it beautifully. Now, we all know Fluttershy's biggest criticism by now, that she learns the same lesson over and over, and first off,
No, she doesn't.
but second off, I think the reason she gets that criticism is because out of all of the main 6, she's trying the hardest to overcome her biggest character flaw. I mean, how many times have we seen AJ let go of her stubbornness and let someone else take the lead instead of her? How many times has Rainbow put aside her ego for the greater good? I bet it's not as many times as when Fluttershy's grown a backbone and put herself out there despite the fact that she's petrified. John Wayne once said, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway."
John Wayne quotes in a video about MLP. This is what you guys are paying the price of admission to see.
But yeah, she's often freaked out by social situations, but she still comes to the tornado practice, just like she goes to the corn maze in Scaremaster, or how she sings with the Ponytones in Philly Vanilli, or how she goes to the Equestria Games. Not only is she trying to get herself out there despite her phobias, but she has the support system to really help her get where she wants to be.
Episode, man! Talk about the episode!
So Fluttershy was great, and I loved how she progressed in this episode. After she bombed the first practice thanks to some rogue laughter, she has a little breakdown, but thanks to some encouragement from her animal friends.
By the way, here's how you can tell that this episode is in the S tier of the series. It even got the best out of Angel Bunny!
She trains her butt off not only to improve her wing speed, but overcome her social phobias. And when she comes back to try again, she jumps from 0.5 to 2.3 wing power, which is a 460% improvement. Maybe let her know that, smart horse.
Fluttershy, that's a huge improvement.
But she still sees herself as inferior to the other ponies who are getting 10s and 11s, giving validation to her insecurities. After running away again, she comes back on Tornado Day to offer moral support because she's a good friend like that, gosh darn it.
And then there's these two parts right here, and I just have no words, so I'm just gonna let them play.
Do it for Equestria! Do it for Rainbow Dash! Do it for yourself!
What was that? I think it was Fluttershy.
Oh, this is so good! I love everything!
Not to mention that fantastic moral. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Dear Princess Celestia, sometimes you can feel like what you have to offer is too little to make a difference. But today, I learned that every pony's contribution is important, no matter how small. If you just keep your head high, do your best, and believe in yourself.
Anything's possible! Anything's possible!
I mean, sure, there's been plenty of believe in yourself morals in every TV show ever, but combined with how Flutters learned the lesson over the course of the episode, it was just so well executed. Plus, like Wonderbolt Academy, despite the fact that this episode was definitely on the more serious tone, it had a lot of laughs. I mean, the debut of Bulk Biceps, Fluttertree becoming canon, the training montage, Twilight and the Squirrel. This episode is just stimulating in every conceivable manner. Now, is this episode perfect?
Yes.
In conclusion,
Okay, scratch that. There is one minor problem that I have with this episode. Like, I just always see that question get brought up, and I've never seen anybody say yes to it, so... Anyway...
the one problem with this episode lies with Spitfire. So, where were you, Miss Elite Flyer? Why aren't you helping these clearly struggling ponies? Did you miss the part where this was super important? Now, one might say she didn't get involved so she wouldn't mess with any record attempts, but they already don't care about that anymore, and unless Spitfire's wing power is like 120 or something, it wouldn't matter anyway.
Now, clearly this episode is good enough to not need a full how DHX should have written, but if I could make things a little better, it might look like this.
So the ponies are on their second try to get the water up, but they're stuck at 760 wing power. Makes sense since they crashed just after 750 last time. Spitfire joins in at the top of the tornado and helps out a bunch, but they still only get to 795, and then Fluttershy can have her big moment. This would both make a Wonderbolt look good for once and make it seem like Fluttershy is their last hope of making this happen. Okay, now that we've mentioned all the big stuff that I like about this episode, let's talk about the little things. Although, basically I could show the entire episode uninterrupted and knock off for lunch, but I'll try to narrow it down a little. I remember watching this episode live, and I legit thought that when Derpy swooped into the shot right here, Rainbow would call her by name, but this wasn't long after the whole last Roundup debacle, so if she was going to say that, it may have got cut. This is kind of a problem with the whole series, but why do teachers in this world never reprimand bullying? Heck, in Newbie Dash, the teachers even started laughing at it. It's not great, folks. Very nice foreshadowing to the feather flu epidemic. I totally missed that feather until very recently. This pony right here looks really weird for some reason. Maybe it's because he's the only pony I've ever seen whose outline is lighter than his coat. Like, even other dark colored ponies like Luna don't have that. Maybe he'd look better if he was inverted? Oh my god, it's Dr. Hooves! Hoovians, tell me this means something! It's an 11! That's Matt Smith, Dr. Hooves! I know that much! Between this and that bit in Philly Vanilli, Fluttershy's breakdowns are just the most horrifying thing. Oh my god, what a fucking cool guy that horse is!
Actually, it was only 2.3 and ow!
You know, normally I'm anti-spike abuse, but when he says stuff like that... Good call, Twilight. Man, his voice deepened by the time Marks and Recreation came around.
He's got the feather flu. He's down at Ponyville Hospital.
Actually, I don't need your help, because I don't want to get my cutie mark.
Good thing that didn't miss. Okay, everyone, let's head over to Dodge Junction and clean up the monsoon that just happened over there. Overall, there are just not enough words in the English language to describe how good Hurricane Fluttershy is, but that's not going to stop me from trying. This episode is inspiring, well written, funny, beautiful, teaches a great lesson. I've watched this episode front to back twice to write this review, not to mention I watched it plenty of times before this video was even thought of, and I'll probably watch it at least once more while editing this video for clips, and it still hits me hard in the feels every time I watch it. Hurricane Fluttershy gets a 9.8 out of 10.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Real quick, just want to know, simple question. What's your favorite episode of Friendship is Magic? Thanks, and I'll see y'all later.